It's time to talk spelling. If you're interested in the Abeka spelling curriculum or just my thoughts on spelling in general, go ahead and keep watching. If you're new here, I'm Christine. I am a homeschooling mom of 3, a second-generation homeschooler, and I live in New Zealand. I can't remember. I often get asked, how many years have you been homeschooling? I don't know. I think this is our 3rd full year, but it's more like 3.5, 4. I was just doing it very casually at the beginning. So we've been doing this for a little while, and as I said, I'm a second-generation homeschooler, so I've been exposed to a few curriculums over the years. But one of the main curriculums that I was homeschooled with was Abeka. And I use their spelling curriculum, and I feel like we've come full circle because I'm using it with my kids now. I went ahead and, I don't know where I'm going to put these books. Hang on. Maybe I'll just leave them here. I went ahead and shared in our August homeschool update that we changed spelling curriculum. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about that. We have tried the Moffat Girls spelling and the Good and the Beautiful spelling. I don't think I've and All About Spelling, which All About Spelling was a success. It's just we moved up the next level, and I didn't feel like I needed all the hands-on components going forward, and so I didn't want to invest in the next level. But it is a fantastic curriculum. So we'd use that, and then I went back to the Good and the Beautiful spelling because I was like, okay, let's just give it a go. They've revamped their language arts program. We've been enjoying their language arts. Let's try the spelling portion again. And we did for like a term, I want to say, maybe even longer. And it just wasn't working. I just found my kids just weren't retaining anything from it. And they were getting frustrated because they weren't retaining when they'd be tested on it or it was reviewed. They just were frustrated because they didn't know. They didn't know how to spell it. And I was getting frustrated because I was like, you need to learn this. And I don't know how to get this, to happen. So I felt like it was hard for me to track what they were supposed to be learning and when it was supposed to be mastered by. And I know that other people don't struggle with the Good and the Beautiful. I'm not saying that their spelling is terrible. I know some people it works really well for. It just does not work well for my kids and my family. And sometimes it's just your personality, I like to have things sort of clear cut and check boxes and that kind of thing. And I just did not feel like their spelling curriculum worked for me for that reason. And so I really went back and forth on what to use, but I just always kept coming back to Abeka because that is what I used as a child. And while it wasn't anything fancy, it was a lot of memorizing and just writing things out. It worked. I feel like I'm a pretty good speller. And I really don't remember spelling rules, to be honest. When I was starting to teach my kids spelling lessons, I'm like, I don't remember learning any of this. I obviously was taught it at some point, but I really don't remember. I just know how to spell words. And I do think it's kind of like a code your brain just sort of cracks, kind of like reading, Once you get it, you get it. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try it with them, and we'll just see how it goes. And so we're into our 3rd week, I think, of doing it. And so far, so good. I'm enjoying it. They're enjoying it. And it seems to be working well. Pause while we wait for the neighbor's dog to stop barking at somebody walking past. Please walk fast, person. Okay, I think we're good. The way in which we are using this curriculum is I'm doing 1 spelling list a week, which is how it's intended. I do not have a teacher's manual. I didn't feel the need to do that. I'm fine with taking the workbook and making it work for us. I don't even know what's in the teacher's manual. I'm really not worried about it. But the way I'm doing it is every day my kids write out their spelling list, and I don't just want them to write it out. I actually get them to say the word out loud and then write out the word, because especially for my younger daughter who is not yet a fluent reader, some of the words she doesn't know. She'll just spell it out. The word read, for instance. E and A together make the long E sound, and she can learn that. But she's not going to look at that word and just necessarily know that it says read. And so she's just spelling R-E-A-D. So at the end of the week, if I say spell read, she's going to go R-E-E-D. She's not going to have a clue. So she needs to be able to connect the two together. So I have them say the word out loud, write it out. And then there's usually like 4 or 5 little activities that they can do per week, and I get them to do those. And so I'm getting them to write it out and do activities 4 days a week, and then on the 5th day we do the spelling test. If they have not mastered all of those words, then I roll over the words they did not get correct onto the next week's spelling list. However, if they're not mastering most of the words, then we'll just repeat the spelling list. Or if they're like, word bank is just getting too big, we'll just slow down and just redo them until they have mastered them. So that is how I'm using it with them. But what I'm going to do now is flip the camera around, and I'll do a little flip through video for you guys so you can see what the inside of the workbooks look like. I've got grade 1 and grade 2. And they are bright and colorful. They are lovely. That's how I remember Abeka as a child, and they still are very much like that. So yeah, let me go ahead and film the flip through for you. And if you have any questions for me, go ahead and leave them down in the comments. I will keep you guys updated on how this curriculum works for us as we carry on. We will be finishing our school year soon. We've only got 1 more term left. And so we'll be wrapping up before Christmas for the end of our school year here in New Zealand. And so we'll just continue with these the following year. And I will, like I said, keep you updated. So yeah, let's do the flip through. Okay, my battery is almost dead, so hopefully I can get through this before it dies. Spelling and Poetry 1. This is the grade 1 book right here. As you can see, the cover is lovely. It comes with a soft cover. I'm pretty sure you can get this in an unbound version. I got these locally through a New Zealand supplier, so I just got whatever they had. I got her little exercise book in here where she numbers her things and writes out her spelling words, but this is what it looks like on the inside. So it does have poetry in here as well. You can see here, this is what the language arts program consists of. We are not doing the poetry section as of right now. We might, but we'll see. Here are your spelling lists, your little table of contents, and the different poems. They have different poems based on the months. And then there's a homework section, which I'll show you as well. We're not utilizing the entire contents of the book. We're just using what works for us. So here is week 1. You can see the spelling list up here. Now in grade 1, they do have the spelling rules up here. So you can see what that looks like right there. And I do go over these with her. And then you've got your spelling list here, which I do wish these were numbered because it would make it easier. But you'll see in the next, I think next week or this week, I numbered them. And they've got the cursive version down here. So if your child's doing cursive writing, they can see it there. And then here you can see the activities that they can do. And these are numbered. There's either 4 or 5 every week. And they're just basic little things. They don't take long. So write spelling words that start with S. Color the words that rhyme with tan. So there's a little bit of phonics practice in here as well. Add a vowel to make a spelling word, and then match the words with the pictures. So you can see that there. And then week 2, again, you've got your rule up here. You've got your words, and then more activities here. And we're up to week 3. And you can see here, she's got her spelling rule. I've added a few words here that she didn't get correct on her last test. And then these words I meant to point out are sight words or advanced words for them. So they don't necessarily sound phonetically correct. So that's just pointed out to the child. And then there are, of course, all of the activities. So that's week 3. So we'll just flip through a little bit. You can see some more spelling rules, more activities. I'll skip through a little bit more so you can sort of see how there's more spelling words here. The list is increasing in the number of words, so it's getting harder for them progressively. And Abeka is known for being fairly advanced, especially in their reading and in their language arts. So if your child is in 1st grade and cannot do this, it's totally fine. Got to meet your kid where they're at. Okay, now we're getting closer to the end. So these are longer. It's adding the ing ending. At 26 weeks now. Now we're at 30 weeks. So there's not actually 36 weeks in here. I do remember that. There are 30 weeks, which is fantastic because it means that if they are not learning everything, there's plenty enough time in there for them to review stuff and to catch up. So there's definitely a longer list there. Still rules at the top. And then you've got your activities there. And then you move into the poetry section. So here are your poems. They're lovely, beautifully illustrated. And you could totally get your child to learn those along with you. And then this is the homework section. I actually don't know what's on this page. Oh, there we go. Homework section. And these, I think, are perforated pages. The front is, are they perforated pages? I can't remember. It's hard to actually see. I should have my glasses on and that would help. I think they might be perforated here. Anyway, I didn't bother with these. I suppose I could, but like it's only one and we definitely write it more than once. So that's why I don't bother with these homework pages, but you could use these if you wanted to. Or another thing I thought would be really fun is if you cut this out and laminated it, and then they could write with like dry erase marker and like could reuse it. That's another option, and it's something I might end up doing because it's great, but you can also just use a piece of paper as well. So there are homework pages in here because these are used in classrooms. They're not necessarily primarily used for homeschooling. That is pretty much it for grade 1 spelling from Abeka. So now we move on to grade 2 spelling, and these pages are perforated, and I pulled them all out because they're just much easier to use that way than in a book like this. You can see this is the first half, and I've like pulled these all out. And again, same thing, you've got your index there, table of contents, and then you move on to here, which is your spelling list and your activities. The difference is there are no spelling rules here. So those are things that are taught in grade 1. I do not see them being taught here in grade 2. Again, you've got sight words here that are in teal, so they're colored differently. And then you've got your activities. Week 2. Write 6 short vowel words. So again, a little bit of phonics practice in there as well. Week 3. There's some of those. Let's skip through a little bit. Week 12, we're now up to 17 spelling words. Definitely longer ones. Some with silent letters in there. And see more activities there. And from week 16, vocabulary words are introduced. I remember these so clearly because I did not enjoy writing these out, but I had to write mine out like 3 times every day, so that was not fun. But vocabulary words, so they're going to write those out and be able to give you the definition of those words at the end of the week. I probably will have my children write it out once a day, and but then just give them to me verbally, the vocabulary word definition. So vocabulary words are introduced and the spelling words continue. They do have like activities that work. So here it's like unscramble the spelling and vocabulary words. So you're working on both. And we're up to week 28. So we're getting very close to the end. This is what it's looking like. Lots of fun activities. And then week 30. And this grade does have more than 30 weeks. So grade 1 had 30 weeks. This has, I think 34, no, 33, only 33 weeks. So again, there's still some room for review, not as much, but there is some. And then you move on to poetry. It's very much laid out the same. if we can find it, all of your poems. And then you have the homework section as well, which you can pull these out. This does not have anywhere for them to write. It says to do it on tablet paper. But you could totally take these out and laminate them and have them like handy for your kids. There they are, though. I love that there's pictures with them. I think it keeps it really fun. Hope we can see that nicely. So yeah, that is grade 2 spelling from Abeka. So thank you for watching. I hope that this was informative and helpful for you. I really enjoy these kind of videos. This is how I make my curriculum decisions a lot of the time, is simply by watching these videos. So I hope it does the same for you. As I said, leave any questions down in the comments below. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
What if the world had more of your smile? What if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness could reach everyone? There'd be no wars,